Hi everybody, I'm Bill Whittle here with Steve Green and Scott Ott, and this is your members only Right Angle made possible by you fine people. And this time it's actually about you fine people too. I can't think of a way to introduce this story without stealing Scott's story, so I'm not going to steal Scott's story. I'm going to ask Scott to tell the story that he told us on the backstage video, and then we'll launch into it from there. Scott, do you want to tell us what got this one going?
Yeah, I was at the store the other day where I work, and I got a phone call from a guy who didn't identify himself over the phone and just asked if I was at work today. And I said, yes, I am, thinking it's a customer who, I dealt with previously or whatever. And he said, well, he had, what's that?
I said, well, in a way you had.
Yeah, in a sense it was. And so he said he'd be coming in later and just wanted to make sure I was there. And I just told him that he could ask anybody for me and I'd come. So right after I got done working with one customer, I got a phone call from my manager, said, hey, you've got a guy here to see you. And I thought, oh, a guy. I know who that must be. And I look over and there's this guy with a cowboy hat on. And as soon as I was able to be freed up, he came over and shook my hand, said his name was Robert, said he had been watching us, me and Bill and Steve, for 6 years. And as right in like the first couple of sentences out of his mouth, he kind of stopped and he said, it suddenly occurs to me that you don't know me. He's like, I know you, but you don't really know me. And it was great. The guy was so nice and said all kinds of nice things about the work we've done over the years, and he actually gave me a book, and just couldn't have been kinder. And I almost interrupted him and said, hey, could we like get a selfie together so I could post it on Facebook? But then I thought, well, he didn't ask me to take a selfie, so maybe that's not appropriate or whatever. So I didn't do it, but it was just like I was so thrilled to meet him that I wanted to capture the moment.
Well, that's actually what I wanted to talk about because, as Scott said, and I've had this experience many times, and Steve has had it too. He doesn't remember it, probably. It was later at night. What's so interesting to me about the story that Scott says is not just that people come up and say, I feel like I know you. It's actually we feel like we know you too. Yeah. I've yet to meet a person who's come up to me, whether they've been a member or not, whether they were Stratosphere Lounge fans, or every now and then I'll see somebody bring up the Silent America book, and every now and then I'll see somebody bring up the first edition of the Silent America book. And in a very, very short period of time, I feel like I know them. I feel like I know them. And I suspect that's because of the work that we do. But Steve, I have to tell you, especially just recently we did a conference call with 10 people on a project I'm working on. I'm just astonished, constantly astonished, first of all, that people have any interest in me or you or Scott for that reason. I genuinely find that really remarkable and quite surprising. But I am always blown away by just the quality of the people that we meet that come up to us. Without question, it's the single honor of my life to be approached by people of this quality. And I mean this very sincerely. They're in virtually all cases not very glamorous. They don't do anything famous. They're just good people.
Yeah.
And smart people.
Well, and Steve, let me just add, I knew he was a good person, not only because he was in Texas wearing a cowboy hat, but he was wearing a BillWhittle.com t-shirt.
Oh, well, that's the clincher, isn't it? I'm flabbergasted that this is any way to make a living.
Yeah, me too. Fortunately, we don't make much of a living.
That's right.
Well, maybe not. But it keeps me in Basil Hayden's. So I guess that's the part of the good news. You guys talk about the quality of the people and the feeling that you know them, and it's true. And the only regret I have, and it seems rude or insensitive or thoughtless or something to have any regrets about being able to do this and to be doing it for 15 years now. But the fact that I don't get out of the house enough to meet people enough, because every time I pick a subject, every time I think about what kind of angle I want to take or what questions I want to pepper the two of you with, or what I want to say in my rap, it's with our viewers in mind. And not being able to meet enough of you often enough makes that part of this amazing job just that much more elusive. So don't be a stranger, anybody.
Absolutely.
Hit us up in real life. Hit us up in the comments. We have far fewer commenters than we have viewers and subscribers. So please, make yourselves known. Introduce yourself. Say hi. I don't always comment back, but if you introduce yourself, you say, "Hey, Steve, Bill, Scott, longtime viewer, first-time commenter," I'm going to see that. I'm going to answer, and I want to get to know you because I want to know who I'm talking to every week. I want to know who makes this crazy thing possible, because it brings that much more joy and delight into what is already possibly the world's laziest job.
Hey, Steve, I got 2 words for you. Right Angle Live Roadshow. Wait a minute.
Love it. Love
2.
it. Those are the best 2
It's more
words
than 2
I've ever
words,
heard.
but still.
It was my understanding there would be no math.
Yep. I just want to second everything that they've both said. There's never, ever been a time when anybody ever came up to me. I've had many people at an airport, I think they're looking at me. I think they know who I am.
Yeah.
But every now and then somebody will come up, and it just simply, it makes my day, makes my entire day, makes me as proud and as happy as I could be. So if you ever see any of us, just definitely walk up and say hi, because we feel like we know you too. And here's the thing that you may not have realized. You probably know the 3 of us about as well as we know each other.
Oh, yeah.
Because Steve and Scott and I have been in the same physical space no more than 3 times. Maybe it's only
5. I think it's
Really?
5 now.
Well, I'm surprised it was that much.
Me
So
too.
we may, over the course
This
of
is
the
like a
last 10
panel
years.
of Rick Perry's here, isn't it? I was like, this number 1.
Well,
I'm heavily
we
medicated.
have Steve and Scott. I consider to be 2 of my closest friends. I consider them to be brothers. We started the show because we were each admirers of each other's work. There not being much quality writing in the early days of the blogosphere, so needless to say, we weren't providing that either. And
we strapped the lifeboats together.
But the point of this is, I feel like I know Steve and Scott like brothers, and it's because I see them every week. But I see them in essentially the same way that you see the 3 of us. I listen to what they have to say about political stuff. If you're a member and you get to watch the backstage show, you know that we have a little bit of fun talking about things, but I look forward to it. It's one of the high points of my week. And I know about as little of Steve and Scott personally as you do, only because the 3 of us have been so willing to be as personal as we can be about this. There's a kind of celebrity, and I would say this is most celebrities, and the reason it doesn't apply to us is because we're not really that much celebrity, really, when you get right down to it. Really pretty much regular guys.
As I told my daughter once, yes, honey, I'm famous. It's just not many people know about it.
That's right. There's a smaller pond somewhere, but I just can't imagine what it would look like.
Well, I stepped on it.
But my point is this: we make a determined effort to be as honest as we can with ourselves and each other, because we like ourselves and we like our audience and we love what we believe in. We love the country and we love the philosophy. But there's a kind of celebrity that wants nothing to do with their public at all. And the term I usually use is they just helicopter in. In other words, I've heard this about Bill Maher and any number of other people, Michael Moore, a large number of people. They're doing a speaking event someplace, and the event is on at 8. There's a dinner that starts at 6:30. They will not be there for the dinner. They will not be there for the pre-dinner VIP party. They're certainly not going to be there afterwards to take questions or pictures. They helicopter in, they give their speech, and they helicopter out because they do not want to talk to the people that make up their fan base. They don't want to. They don't like them very much. And the idea that somebody would come up to them and say, "I feel like I know you," repulses them. Doesn't do that for us at all.
Bill, can I throw out a
Please.
suggestion based on what you're
Sure.
saying here? Because I've seen this happen, and it just occurred to me that, hey, other people can do this. There's no top-down control here. But as you know, the cluster of Stratosphere Lounge and BillWhittle.com fans that are in and around the Dallas-Fort Worth area have periodically gotten together. And
Yes.
every once in a while, it turned out that either you or I or both of us could be there. At that time. Now, it's not so much our presence there that's interesting to me. What's interesting to me is that they stay in touch. They get together from time to time. And in fact, just this week, that little cluster of people was on Facebook saying, hey, anybody available Saturday night? Can we get together? And so it just occurred to me, well, you could do this anywhere. You could do this anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world for that matter, because if
Just get
Facebook
together and have
allows
a
you to
beer.
find your local friends. You could say, hey, why don't we all get together and have dinner or just have a drink or whatever and hang out and talk about the stuff that's interesting to us. Now, if you happen to know that, we're in town, and I know
Let
what
us
town
know.
I'm always in, but Bill gets around, and, then extend the invitation. And if possible, we'd love to be able to meet you. But you all can get together and make this less of a just social media network and more of an actual personal encounter.
Love it.
And I know I speak
Bill,
for-
Bill,
please.
can I throw in just one thing real quick? Of
course.
I think you're being a little unfair because, frankly, I have no interest in meeting Michael Moore fans either.
You make an interesting point there, Steve.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. No, we're not kidding. Come up and say hi.
Please.
We feel like we know you. We're pleased to know you. We're very, very pleased and honored to be doing this. And to the degree that people think that maybe we are the voice of regular Americans, there is no higher honor that I can think of, frankly. So don't just stand there. Do something. We'd love to meet you, too. That'll do it for this show. I might make this one public. I think I shall. Because if you're generous, we have a lot of right-angle people who watch this show, to my astonishment. And we will, and so because of the generosity of our paying members, they often say, just go ahead and make this one public. I think that's what we'll do. In any event, we feel like we know you too. And if you ever happen to see us, just come on up and say hi. We'd love to talk to you. Every time I go to a speaking event, people say, can you stay for a little while for pictures and stuff? And I always tell them the same thing, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I am going to be the last person out of that room.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's true for all of us. We'll see you next week right here on Right Angle.